Good afternoon, friends. It's Mrs. Rendock coming to you with Miss Baker. Today we're here to talk about lesson 7.4, which is multiplying fractions. And in this case, we are going to multiply fractions with models. So we're going to be using models for each of these. You're going to notice that I'm using the same shape and the same system for each of the models, I'm finding that that has really been helpful. So first we're going to look at page 443, and you'll notice I've covered up the answers this time. Ha ha! And the first one we're going to look at is thinking about 1/4 of 2/3. And so the first thing we want to do is we want to show that 2/3 because we're finding 1/4 of 2/3. So we're going to divide our shape into thirds. 1, 2, 3. I know I'm writing in my book. Shh, don't tell anyone. And then we're going to shade 2 of those thirds, just like that. And then we need to find 1/4 of those 2/3. So we're going to draw lines across to cut those thirds into fourths. And this is the most important part. Now we have to find where those two sections overlap. And that is what we're going to be focusing on. And so we are going to see that right here is where they overlap. And that is 2 out of how many pieces altogether? Right there. Well, 4, 8, 12. So it's 2/12. And I know I can simplify that to 1/6. And hey, we're right because we're smarty pants. All right, let's see if we can do it again. So in this model, we're finding 2/5 of 5/6. So, and I'm going to just tell you honestly right now, I don't recommend you using circles at all. I won't be. So in this case, we're going to divide the circle into 5/6 first. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. And we're going to shade 5 of those pieces. And then we need to find, of those 5 pieces, which is fifths, 2 of those fifths. So I'm finding 2 of them out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 6. And so the answer is 1/3. Oh, thank goodness I got it right again. Okay. All right, now we're going to do these next 4. And I went ahead and made some models for us so that we didn't have to wait for me to draw all that stuff. And if I were you right now, I would make 4 rectangles. Maybe you can do them right there in the book, right underneath. And then you can work along with me, maybe pausing between. So for this first one, number 3, we're going to look at 4/5 times 1/2. All right, so if we're going to find something of 1/2, the first thing we'll do is we'll divide our shape in half, okay? And then we need to find 4/5 of that. So we're going to go across, whoops. And if I'm drawing fifths, I know I'm going to be making 4 lines, right? And I'm going to do my very best to make them even. Oops, geez, I forgot to shade in the 1/2. All right, so let's do that first. There's the half. Okay. And then I want to have 4/5 of those halves. So I have to find where those 4 are. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. And for this one, I'm going to change colors so we can really see where they overlap. And I'm going to shade the opposite direction. So there's 4, and there's the other half of those 4/5. Those 4/5. Sorry about that. And then I'm going to look and say, all right, so where is the overlap? And I can see the overlap is right there. So let's think about how we can name that. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces out of how many all together? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 4/10. Okay, and I know that 4 and 10 are both even numbers, so I can divide them both by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 2/5 is in simplest form because there are no more common factors. Okay? You ready to try another one? This time I'm going to remember what to do in the order. All right, so this time we're going to find 3/4 of 1/3. So let's first divide our shape into thirds, and this time I'm remembering. I'm going to shade in that 1/3 piece. And notice this isn't an art project, but I'm trying to be careful. So that shows me 1/3. And then I want to find 3/4 of 1/3. So I'm going to cut and divide now into fourths. And again, if I'm using fourths, I'm going to be drawing 3 lines. And I want to be as careful as possible to be as equal as possible. But if it's not perfect, I'm not going to tell, will you? All right, and then I'm going to shade in those 3/4, and I'm going to shade them in sideways the other way. I'm going to try to keep my elbow on my thing so I can do, here we go. Whoops, try to hold it down. I should tape it next time, I think. All right, so, oh boy, that was tricky. All right. And then I'm going to grab my red pen and I'm going to look at my model and see, where do these two shadings overlap? And I can see that they overlap right there. So I count 1, 2, 3 pieces out of how many altogether? 3, 6, 9, 12. So I have 3/12. And I know that 3 and 12 have a common factor of 3. And so I'm going to divide to find simplest form. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And you know the saying, if it's 1, then we're done. Okay? All right, so let's try a couple more. I've got 4 more models for us to do together. This time we're going to find 3/8 of 2/3, or 3/8 times 2/3. So first we're going to show our 2/3 again. Notice how I'm using pretty much the exact same plan of dividing this up every time. I just like it, and it seems to work each time, so that's what I'm doing. Okay, so there's 1/3, and here there's 2/3. Okay, so I have 2/3. Now I need to find eighths. Ay, 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 ay. All right, well, if I'm going to find eighths, I'm going to divide the job up. First, I'm going to find half, and then I know I'm going to need 4 pieces in each of these. So 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there you go, because I know that 4 times 2 equals 8. Oh, my pen is a little bit shaky. All right, and then I'm going to grab my blue marker, and I'm going to shade in 3 of those 1/8. And I'm going to go backwards, and so it's going to be 3. Whoops, sorry, I'm out of focus there. 3/8, because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm shading in 3 of them. And then I look and I say, where do I see both sections shaded? And there it is. So let's count. 3 and 3 is 6 out of how many altogether? Let's see. 8, 8, and 8 is 24. Again, I have 6/24, which I know has a common factor of 6. So I'm going to divide by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 24 divided by 6 is 4. So we have 1/4 as our final answer. And if you look, there you go. 6/24 equals 1/4. Okay, so here we go again. This time, whoa, 3/5 of 3/5. That's kind of cool. All right, so let's make fifths. And that's going to mean 4 lines again, because that's how I divide something into 5 equal pieces. Then I'm going to shade those 3/5. Sorry, guys, if I had 2 hands, I'd be able to do this a little bit neater. But one of my hands is a little occupied holding that camera right now. All right, so there we go. 3/5. Color them in a little bit more. And then I need to find 3/5 of those 3/5. So I need to do the same division, except I'm going to do it the other way. 3, oh, these aren't exactly even, but they'll have to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good. And then I'm going to shade in 3 of the rows going across. So here we go. That's going a little bit better. Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to look and see, which sections have both been shaded. And that's this group right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So we call that 9/25. So 3/5 times 3/5 equals 9/25. All right. So now we have a couple of word problems, and they're no big deal, so let's check them out. Nora has a piece of ribbon that is 3/4 yard long. She will use 1/2 of it to make a bow. What length of the ribbon will she use for the bow? Okay, well, let's pretend this is the bow right here, or the ribbon. So we need to find 1/2 of 3/4. And I know that of is the same as times, so I can just write it like that. So 1/2 of 3/4. So first I'm going to shade in 3/4. And I know that means I need 3 lines to make fourths. All right, hold on. Let me shade those in. I've got my tongue out like Michael Jordan right now because this is tricky to do with just one hand. There we go. There we go. See, we can do hard things. Okay, and then I'm going to divide all of those fourths in half. Oh, boy, that's an easy one. Okay, and then I'm going to shade in half. Here we go, the whole entire, because I have 2 rows, and I'm shading in one of those. And then I'm going to look for all the parts that have shaded both times. And there they are. There are 3 of them. And there are 3 out of 8. So 1/2 of 3/4 is 3/8. So she would need 3/8 of a yard. Okay? And the last one, and I hope that you're stopping my video so that you can do some of these on your own. What the heck? Where did there we go. All right. So Marlon bought 7/8 of a pound of turkey at the deli. Oh, I love turkey. That's my favorite from the deli. He used 2/3 of it to make sandwiches for lunch. How much of the turkey did Marlon use for sandwiches? Okay, so that means I need to find 2/3 of 7/8, which I know means the same as 2/3 times 7/8. So first, let's divide our rectangle into eighths. And for when I have lots of pieces like that, I like to divide it in half first. And then I know that I can make 4 even pieces on this side and 4 even pieces on this side, because 4 times 2 is 8. I'm sorry, they're not exactly even. I'm very sorry about that. So hope yours are better. And I'm going to try to get my elbow on here. No? All right. Here, you know what? I'm just going to grab a piece of tape real quick. So hang on 1 second. All right. I anchored that thing right down. All right. So I now need to shade in 7 of those 8ths. Oh, this is so much easier. I should have done this before. Oh, well. You live and learn. Doing a lot of that these couple weeks. Doing a lot of learning. Okay. So there is 7/8. Now I need to find 2/3 of those 7/8. So I'm going to create thirds going across. And then I'm going to shade in 2 of those 3 rows. I'm going to go backwards. so that I can see both ways. Oh yeah, that tape idea was awesome. Should have done that before. Oh well. Anyway, then I'm going to find the area that is shaded both directions. And there we go. So let's see. I'm going to count by twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Holy smokes. Out of, let's see. I had 8 plus 8 plus 8 equals 24. So 14 24ths. Now they're both even numbers. So let's see. I'm going to do a factor tree here. Let's see what happens. I think the common factor is 2, but I want to make sure. What are the factors of 14? Let's see. 1, 2, 7, 14. And the factors of 24. See, this is why I'm checking, because I know 24 has got a boatload of factors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. See, that's a lot. Let me do the rainbow thing just to make sure I got them all. 3 times 6, 4 times. All right. So, even with after all that work, look at that. The greatest common factor is 2. So, I'm going to divide by 2 through the numerator, which is 7. 24 times 2, divided by 2, is 12. Holy smokes, that's a lot of work. And so I'm going to show the big screenshot again. If you would like to print that screenshot and use that for your modeling, that's awesome. And I hope that these models will help you understand a little bit more about dividing fractions. If we were dividing fractions, you know I meant multiplying fractions, right? I can just see somebody's hand up going, Mrs. Rendock, you meant to say multiplying, right? And I would say, thank you so much for listening and paying attention. So anyway, all right, Miss Baker and I are going to go out because it's an absolutely beautiful day out there. You can see through my front windows, and we are going to go take a walk. So I hope you are out enjoying some fresh air yourselves. And as usual, I miss you guys. I miss you to pieces. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.